Welcome back to the second edition of the Footy Show for this week, grand final week.
Bumper week.
Absolutely, it's going to be an absolute belting weekend of footy. On Saturday, the senior grand finals. Really looking forward to all three of those grand finals, plus the women's game that will be played in between the reserves and the seniors.
Yeah, we've got the banner here behind us, Cause. I feel like we probably should have run through it to start the show, since it's all about grand finals this week.
That's exactly right, mate. Exactly right. So, looking at the under-18s first, mate. Grafton and Breakers should be a belter.
Yeah, it should be. I mean, Grafton, what was it, 2 weeks ago when they won the semi. For mine, their performance that day is the best performance by any team, any age group so far in the final series. So on the back of that performance, I think they probably go in as favourites. But really the big question for them, obviously, the challenge always is for the teams who win straight through, is what do they do in that week off, and can they keep themselves fresh, keep themselves up. So they're ready to go right from the outset. So, young blokes there up at the Tigerland, looking to be the first team to win a flag up in Grafton since 2012. So it's a big moment for them for sure.
Bit disappointing for one young fella. He's going to miss out for a pretty unusual occurrence.
Yeah, absolutely. Really sad news for him. Young Morgan Holloway, involved in a cane fire up there downriver from Grafton. Got some pretty nasty burns on his back and his hands. So he's definitely out. But certainly to Morgan, we wish you all the best, mate. You played some good footy this year, and we hope you're up and about and back on the back on the field next season.
Yeah, absolutely. And Hamish Allen, mate, state player. He was great in the second semi and has been really good every time he's played this year. So looking forward to seeing him on the big stage, and I think he'll have a big impact.
Yeah, size and speed are two pretty advantageous things to have in your corner in our particular sport. And in Hamish Allen, 8'2" and quick as the wind, he's got both of those in spades. So he's very dangerous, that's for sure. Lockie Glover too, fantastic performance in the semi. 6 goals he kicked.
Yeah. Great to see him back. He's from downriver, as you say, Lower Clarence Eagles as a junior, and he was instrumental in the flags that they won as a junior club as well. So no doubt Lockie will be looking forward to having another big performance. The Breakers going for 3 under-18 premierships in a row, mate. So they'll want to live that tradition on.
Yeah, not easy to do in underage footy, obviously, because you obviously get that churn, that movement on of players. So really impressive for them to be in the position to be in with a shot at doing that. So congratulations to them on that front. Last week, very good, bounced back very well from the disappointment of the semi-final and the prelim. And they look. I mean, if they can produce that sort of form, it should be a cracking game in the 18s.
Absolutely. I umpired the second semi, and I thought the Grafton were good, but the Breakers were a little bit disappointing. But they certainly much better last week. Aidan Van Ryswick, 6 goals last week. Good effort. His girlfriend's won the best on gown for the Breakers in the youth girls last weekend in the grand final. So he'll be looking to try and match that sort of performance, I'm sure.
Yeah, bloodlines there, future progeny.
Absolutely. Aidan Wallace, probably got one of the most unusual kicking styles I've seen from a quality footballer. But talking about height and speed, he can run, and he's super tall. So I'm sure he'll have a great performance as well.
Yeah, only reason that we're not doing the halftime sprint this year is we just didn't know how far we had to handicap Aidan to make it competitive. And with the roadworks coming out of Grafton, we just didn't think it was all safe under WH&S laws. So.
Absolutely, he did win that fairly comfortably.
He did.
And Lachlan Lloyd.
Yeah, Lachlan Lloyd. Family moved up from Vic halfway through the season, and he slotted in there beautifully. Performed really well for the North Coast Force in the Rep Carnival. He's really starting to make a bit of a name for himself. Can play both ends of the park. Last week he spent a bit of time up forward, slotted 4 goals, but certainly I remember at the Rep Carnival played a lot down in the back line too, and stopped at least 4. So
I could say a swing man.
Swing man indeed, yes, Brett Vella-like.
Absolutely. I mean, we certainly feel for the young man who broke his ankle last week, so obviously won't get an opportunity to play. That's particularly disappointing for him and the Breakers, I suppose. So
yeah, absolutely. Big shame to get so close and not be able to run out there with your mates.
Absolutely. We tipping a winner, mate, or are we just what are we doing there?
Look, I mean, there's a bit of ducks and drakes going on with the lineups, so I guess we don't really know until the game day. But I think if we've got 2 similar lineups to what we had 2 weeks ago, I'm going to put my money on Grafton.
Okay.
if I could bet on AFL.
Exactly. Well, I can't either, but I would probably as well after their performance in the second semi. Moving forward to the Ressies, 2016 rematch, obviously. Local derby, Breakers versus Sawtell. So it should be really good. Breakers, have they won an open age senior premiership, so senior or reserves yet?
No, not at this stage. So got a few minor premierships in the bag now, but no, haven't yet cracked it for the first open age premiership. So I guess particularly, I guess they got 2 cracks on the day, Ressies and seniors. But with Ressies being earlier in the day, they get first go at creating that bit of history for the footy club.
Absolutely. I wonder how Timmy Heather's going to go.
Oh, Timmy Heather! How good is Timmy Heather going at the moment? He's played 2 weeks of Masters footy out on the stadium. And in between, played obviously the Ressies semi. He's backing up this week, so 4 weeks in a row. I don't think Timmy's played that much footy since he was 12.
Probably not.
No.
He does love the surface of the stadium.
He's a stadium specialist.
He is a stadium specialist, so good luck to Timmy. Sawtell, mate, defending premiers.
Defending premiers, yeah, but I guess, Sawtell played in plenty of reserve grade grand finals, but I guess, what's going to make it a little bit unusual for them.
Rick Johnson.
No Rick Johnson, first time that Sawtell has appeared in a reserve grade grand final since Moses was a young fella playing the halfback flank for Jerusalem without Rick Johnson.
Absolutely. That is different.
It is, but in a guy like Pat Miles, Pat's had an outstanding season this year in Ressies, I guess he'll be the guy that'll be leading the way for them. Danny Palm's gone well as well, so there'll be a couple of guys there to watch for.
And the fact that they aren't in the under-18s grand final, there might be a few under-18s in there to add a bit of leg speed.
Yeah, I think that's probably, speaking of betting, that's probably paying about $1.02 at the moment. That there'll be some young 18-year-olds in there running around. That'll be an interesting little, sideline to how it all plays out in the Ressies.
Yeah, absolutely. Faye, for the first time ever, mate, we've got some female footy on the stadium on grand final day. I've been involved with some development work with the women, and it's been really, really exciting and fantastic. So it's a great opportunity for us to showcase the fastest growing sport in Australia, that is female Australian rules football. So it'll be great to have them there. Probably before we talk about those that will be playing, one notable absentee, Georgia Breward from the Grafton Tigers. Admittedly, she's played most of her footy with the Tweed Coast Tigers this year, but she won't be able to play. She was hoping that she was going to, but she's got some little gig down at the MCG or something, mate. What's that?
Yeah, apparently having a run out as part of an All-Australian squad, which she was named in following the national championships. They've split that squad into 2 teams, and Saturday afternoon they're playing the curtain raiser to the Women's State of Origin game. So, good luck to Georgia for that, but a bit disappointed she's not on the stadium. I mean, where's her priorities, mate?
That's right. Surely the stadium's better surface than the MCG, isn't it?
Oh. Just ask Russell. He'll tell you.
Yeah, that's right. She might get a bit more notice down at the MCG though. So certainly good luck to Georgia, and I know Mum and Dad are going down to watch. So I hope they all have a great time down in Melbourne. Some of the names of the people that are playing though, mate, it's terrific. We've got a contingent coming up from Port Macquarie for the game as well, which is terrific. Cambridge McCormick, development officer down in Port Macquarie, has been training with the senior men all year at Port.
And leading the way.
Okay, I'll take your word for that. Can play. We haven't seen her play yet, but she was in the Brisbane Lions squad for AFLW. Cut at the last cut before the season started last year. So certainly looking forward to seeing her play.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you say, I mean, she's told us she can play. It's our chance to now actually see that in action. So we're looking forward to that big time.
I've told you I can play too, though.
I've seen it, mate. 100% disposal efficiency in the rec game.
Yeah, thanks, mate. Tanya Slack-Smith. She might be a mum of a couple of youth girls, but she can play.
She can play, yeah. Look, I mean, my inside mail on her before she debuted was that she'd basically been drummed out of netball for being too physical.
Excellent.
Which, everything pointed to she'd found her sport.
For sure.
And indeed she has, mate. You should have seen her down there in Port Macquarie. She was like a seagull on a chip. Every time the ball was on the ground, she was in there knocking girls out of the way. She's just loving her footy.
And I think that's something that everyone will be a bit surprised at. Certainly some of the skills mightn't be the greatest in this game, but the tenacity and the thriving of the contest, I'm sure it'll be fantastic and may well surprise a few. A couple of the locals from around the Coast, if you like. Casey, she's going down to try with the Giants for next year's AFLW team, so that'll be terrific. Alana Hansen, once again our own development officer that works in Cost. She's been a real driver of female footy and is playing some good footy. She hopes to play in the Inverell women's side that'll play in the grand final hopefully in a couple of weeks. So she's looking forward to the run here.
Yeah, she's been talking up how much she's going to dominate Cambridge, so it will be interesting to see whether that comes to fruition or not.
Alana, that was PT, not Crolls. Okay, just make note of that. And Lauren French. She's an absolute cracker, and we love the way that she's played in the couple of games we've seen her play. So really looking forward to seeing her go around as well.
Yeah, the ukulele. She's a bit of a tackling machine. Doesn't stop at tackling just the opposition. So we've been trying to tip her up to that. Just focus on tackling the other team, not too many on your own.
Was that Lily she tackled?
Lily Doyle. Yeah.
So Lily Doyle's playing as well. So state player from Grafton Tigers, made the state under-18 team this year as well. So it'd be great to see a fair bit of talent from the women, which will be terrific. So that game will start at 2:10. Between the reserves and the seniors, so a great opportunity to come and see what we're building to next year with the competition for the women.
Yeah, like you say, 4 games played already, and the women have been fantastic. Like you say, skills aren't quite there yet because they haven't had the same opportunity to practice, but certainly the ferocity of the attack on the ball, the effort they put in is fantastic, and people will really come away with their eyes open, I think.
Yeah, terrific. So moving forward to the main game of the day, the seniors grand final.
Yes.
Obviously, we've got a mouth-watering clash here, mate. This is, as I said before, local derby. I don't think these two clubs particularly like each other, to be honest. That might be a little bit controversial, but there's, I wouldn't go as far as to say hatred, but they don't like each other and they don't want to lose to the opposition. So it's going to be an absolute belting game. Best two teams, not only of this year but the last two years.
Yeah, for sure.
So it'll be a fantastic clash. Obviously, Sawtell won the second semi and got the week off, as you said before. What do they do in that period? Train really hard, have a bit of a rest, let some injuries people get over those injuries maybe.
Look, I think the thing is, with a club like Sawtell, who've obviously been in so many grand finals in recent history, they've got a pretty fair idea what to do, whether they're first in, second in, whether they've come from third as they did last season. So I think that they'll have their routine pretty much down pat. But I think certainly, Breakers, looked to me in the semi as if they were a bit underdone. And looked much better last week for having the run out prior to that. So
yeah, Port brought a pretty good team actually for the prelim, so it was a really good performance by the Breakers. So
it was. Yeah.
I think we're in for an absolute belter. Couple of the stars for the Breakers. Fraser Giray, he's a great player. Last year was probably not 100%. That's for sure.
Carrying something. So
absolutely.
For sure.
And his final series has been better than last year, so look forward to him playing well. Nick Von Schill always plays an important role in the back line as the captain coach, so certainly the leader down there. Couple up forward, Nick Stanton-Velt, Noodle.
Yes.
He's played some pretty good footy this year.
Yeah, 6 goals last week.
Yeah, that's a great effort.
Important contribution for sure.
And as long as he can keep his focus on the game, I think he'll contribute really well. And Luke Valdez, he's played well all year, and once again, only 4 goals last week, maybe.
Yeah. So running through, I suppose, a bit more from the middle for Luke, and certainly every time the ball came down to the ground in the forward 50, he was swooping on it, and I think he kicked 2 or 3 that way last week.
Yeah, absolutely. The one thing I did sneak around Breakers training through the week, and
Dr. Peter Larkin style.
Yeah, absolutely. And there was a bit of word around that last year that they had gone in with a couple that weren't right, and have learnt from that. So anyone who wanted to be considered for senior selection this year had to do all the training both days, Tuesday, Thursday this week. So basically, anyone who's there on the day is at 100%. So that's a cherry ripe. I like it. Looking to Sawtell, Hamish Bird, he's a great player. When he plays well in the middle, Sawtell go a long way to winning football games. So
yeah, absolutely. Big loss the 5 weeks he was travelling, but he's back, he's fit, he's running well. yeah, as you say, contributing big time.
Absolutely. And one of the men that can get the ball to him, Leif Stewart, coming out of the ruck, and whether he's playing forward or back, he can play anywhere on the ground. He's a good player.
Johnny Farnham of AFL North Coast, he's retired and come back more times. Got the scoop the other week that he's retired again at 23 after this match. But,
Right.
Very short odds he'll be running around again in 2018.
Absolutely. Jimmy Angel, stalwart. You might think he doesn't do a lot, but he just keeps kicking bags of goals, mate. I mean, and he's been in really good form in the sort of the second half of the season. So I thought at one stage someone said he was going to be back to the back pocket like a plumber, Kevin Sheedy style. Yes. But then once again he was in the forward line, second semi. So who knows where he'll end up? But one thing that you can count on, if you're playing on Jimmy, you're earning your kicks.
Exactly.
And he will certainly be a contributor. Luke
probably,
Matthews.
Probably not covering a lot of territory, but earning your kicks.
Absolutely right. Luke Matthews, he's probably had one of his best years, I think. Certainly since I've been around the local league. Have a really, really good year and is sure to poll some votes in the league best and fairest. Look, I think he's a great leader for that club.
Yeah, always has been, but I think that stepping up into a coaching capacity this year, he's probably just taken his game to another level. So yeah, he's had a ripping season this year, that's for sure.
Absolutely, and it's only a rumour, but there might be a little sneaky late inclusion at Sawtell. Have you heard anything about that, PT?
Yeah, I've heard a couple of whispers, but I just haven't been able to get anybody to confirm it. So big surprise.
Sometimes that means possibly. There might be truth to the rumour.
Exactly. Everybody's running. Nobody's given up the answers. But we'll have to see. Possible late surprise call up.
Okay. Anyway, that's the wrap for this week.
Just before we do go though, mate, you're always a man who's got the inside knowledge. Any word on Dusty?
Nah, look, I haven't got a word on Dusty. Every time my phone goes off, there's something with Richmond Football Club on it, I go, oh, hang on, Dusty. Nah, not yet. Hopefully next time we come to you, we might have a signing from Dusty for the Mighty Tigers. But until then, make sure you do tune in next week. We'll certainly be doing a review of the grand finals and obviously some of the best players and award winners for the grand finals. And also looking to the league best and fairest, which is on Saturday week.
Exactly, yeah.
So I look forward to seeing you all next week.
See you then, viewers.